Guys, I got to talk about this. This is DJ Wolfine. All right, let me go ahead and talk about this right quick. I don't even know where to begin. There's an old saying I've heard in a number of neighborhoods. I heard people say it time to time. I've even heard it myself. You forgot where you came from. I hear that bullshit all the time. Just because you decide you want to do something with your life, just because you want to have a career, have a job, raise a family, like most normal people would do, just because you want to be able to have, be able to do the good things in life that you want to do with yourself and your career and your family. People always throw you in the bus. You forgot where you came from. You move out the city. You move from the neighborhood and everything. Okay, what's going to benefit me staying there? No job, no money, no car to be able to pay for it with a job, no house to be able to live in. The usual stuff that happens in the neighborhood. Right. What's going on here? Okay. Somebody slowed the cars up for some reason. I may turn back around here. It's just crazy. Same usual BS. So, like I said, what good would it do me to, not move out the neighborhood if it's not going to benefit me by staying there? That's a decision I made 34 years ago this year, and I've never regretted it. I did, at one time I kind of like, wow, why did I miss home, I miss my family, I miss my friends, and then I go up there a few times and it's like, outside of some of the drama I dealt with my family and the few friends that I had, what did I really miss? I asked myself that question at the time. Even though I did, I missed being around the surrounds. It was just like I was in another whole world when I decided to stay out here in the DMV after I got out the service back in 31 years ago. So basically what I'm saying to myself is, some of us sometimes regret making the move, but you shouldn't if it's for the right reasons. If you benefit from moving and you benefit and gain opportunities that you wouldn't have gained had you lived in the city, what would you regret at that point? I don't regret anything. Because your family is going to always be your family, whether you're with them or not. They may not always want to be subject to change, and you can't force that hand on them. You can't. I know. Once I've tried, don't work. Sometimes it's the best that you don't try to change, because that's who they are. But if you're willing to change yourself to do better, then don't let anybody stop you from doing it. You know what I mean? Because there are people out there that will try to throw a guilt trip on you because you're out there making an effort to do better, and they see that you are doing that, and they put you down. I'm telling you right now, I don't have a problem saying it. I'm in my mid-50s now, and I've seen it all. I've heard it all. I've witnessed a lot of stuff in my life, man. I witnessed a lot of bullshit from people in my life. Family, friends, and what have you. Go work all of that. There's something you doing that looks good to somebody else, there's a chance that somebody ain't gonna like it. Trust me on that. it's unfortunately, I mean, that is a part of life. You're going to always find somebody, or hater, or somebody that's going to look something in you that they feel, what do you think you're doing? You think you big time. I had a neighbor tell me that. I had a former neighbor tell me that years ago. I don't know why he would say that. I guess, I don't know. Maybe I surpassed his goals. That's a way of looking at it. You might surpass the goals that somebody had for themselves that they didn't achieve. But that's not your fault. Don't let that be a guilt trip on you because of something that they didn't do. That's not your fault. I told my son, don't be me, be 2.0. Be the new improved, be enhanced you. That's my goal, and that's kind of why I say to the class of 2020, if I was at a commencement speech, be the 2.0 that the 1.0 wasn't. In other words, be better. Do better. Don't worry about what people are going to say about it. About, you look at you all fancy and stuff. Well, okay, be fancy. So what? People have always said one thing or another about me that they didn't like. I'm not perfect. I ain't have to try to hurt people. And I admit, I'm not perfect myself. To be honest, I'm not. I'm not a perfect person. Lord knows I'm not. But I know one thing about me. I'm going to always try and improve on something. I'll say this. God knows that no one's perfect. He knows that. But he don't want you to do bad. He wants you to do better. Yeah, I'm getting a little preachy because that's one of the things I can honestly say turned my life around was to give myself back to God. There's no doubt that me doing that was the best thing I've ever did outside of moving outside of Cleveland. I can honestly say that with full conviction. 2012 was one of the worst years it was one of the worst years of my life personally outside of last year when I lost my father. That was a horrible year. That year was hard. And 2020 is horrible. The three of the worst years of my life. 2012, 2019, and 2020. Well, really 2018 too, because my father actually got sick. I mean, he got really sick then. But those are some of the worst years of my life. But 2012, I think, was the one that made me change for myself. I had to. I didn't want to be bothered with nobody. I didn't have a bad attitude, but I just got tired of a lot of stuff, with people, man. And I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where to turn. So I started back going to church, man. Started back going because I had went before. But I started back going, and I started getting more involved. And as I started getting more involved, I started feeling better about myself. And I went to church on Sundays, man, and read lessons. I went to Sunday school, man, and got involved in church activities, man. I felt so much good about myself, man. I felt like, and I'm being serious. I'm being dead serious. To me, not only was it an awakening, it was a healing for me because of all that mess that I dealt with growing up. And, among other things, I started feeling better about myself. I really did. I started feeling much better about myself than I ever did before. I felt more confident in myself. I felt the ability to be able to be more assured of who I am in my life as a man. And be more respectful of others. No, I ain't gonna take no stuff from nobody. Believe me, I won't. But how can I put it? I felt awakened. I felt more woke than I ever did before in a lot of ways. And confident. Sometimes when at your lowest points, man, you don't feel confident, you don't feel happy, you don't feel joyful, you don't feel no happiness, you don't feel anything, man. I mean, you feel it's doom and gloom. I didn't feel that way anymore. I really didn't. You know? And I also started doing one other thing. I started thinking outside the box a little more. You know, about not only my personal goals, you know, but my goals of doing music and stuff like that. You know, even with doing the podcast. You know, yeah, I talk about certain subjects like politics or movies and television or sports or news, even local news I've talked about on my podcast. But I also talk about life affirmations as well. You know, I talk about that a lot on this podcast. I even tell you some personal stuff of my personal struggles. I have no problem saying that. You know, we all go through it. We all have it. You know? And I feel good talking about it. Years ago, I wouldn't have felt good talking about it. You know? Now, you know, I think when you reach a certain plateau at a certain age, you don't have a problem talking about it because you know those experiences you want to share with other people. You know? And maybe somebody else can learn from your mistakes, or you can learn from theirs. This is why I do this. I have no problem with it. I've talked about weight loss. I've talked about depression. I've talked about being sad. I've talked about being happy. I've talked about my music and how good it makes me feel when I'm doing it. You know, I posted 3 different videos about not only music, but the fact that I actually went ahead and made a major purchase. You know, something I probably should have gotten a long time ago, but I finally decided to do it. I said, you know what? I ain't looking back on it. After I messed with it a few times, I was like, yeah, this is the one. You know? And I'm going to talk about that in another podcast. So, but, like I said, hey, don't give up. You know? Think about your own personal goals in your life and the things that you need to do to have a career for yourself and potentially for your family. You know, as far as immediate family, sometimes they don't always know the right things to tell you about certain things. Sometimes they do. You know, I talked about my dad at his memorial service and talked about the fact that we didn't always see eye to eye on some things. Some things we did. A lot of the stuff we did. Some stuff we didn't. You know. But the one thing I did, and I told my son, I told him at the memorial, the one thing I did do was listen. You could take something out of that and maybe figure out why you were told that. Maybe not necessarily to put you down or make you upset or make you bitter or sad. It's probably because it was a lesson that was there for that. And you could take something out there and learn from it, even though you don't agree with it. I've always done that. Remember that. Sometimes when you have family members putting you through certain things, man, it's a life-affirming lesson about who they are. You know, and sometimes it's meant for you to understand the stuff that they're going through, so you can not get into some of the things that they're dealing with, especially if it's bad, extremely when it's bad habits. Maybe it's a lesson for you to learn about what not to do. All right, I'm done, guys. It's DJ Wolf. I'm out.